If AAC disappears when kids are dysregulated, it's truly not accessible. In this episode, we're talking about AAC, regulation, and why communication shouldn't be something kids have to earn by being calm. I'm Tara Phillips, and this is the Autism Little Learners podcast, where I share simple, neuro-affirming tools to support young autistic children with compassion and confidence. When we talk about supporting communication for autistic children, AAC is often framed as a skill to be taught. But here's the shift that changes everything. AAC is not just a communication tool, it's an access tool. And access depends heavily on regulation. For many children, the biggest barrier to using an AAC device isn't motivation, understanding, or willingness. It's the state of their nervous system. When a child is dysregulated, overwhelmed, or in survival mode, accessing any form of communication, spoken language or AAC, is incredibly hard. That's not a failure, it's biology. Think about a time when you were overwhelmed. Maybe your heart was racing, maybe you felt frustrated or shut down. In those moments, finding the right words felt hard, even if you're a fluent speaker. For autistic children, especially those who rely on AAC, this effect can be even more pronounced. When the nervous system is in that state of dysregulation, processing slows down, working memory is reduced, motor planning becomes harder, and expressive language is often the first thing to disappear. This is true for speaking children and AAC users alike. So when we expect a child to use an AAC device only when they're calm, seated, and regulated, we're unintentionally removing access during the moments when they need it most. One of the most common and harmful myths in AAC support is the idea that children must be calm before they can communicate. This belief often shows up with withholding AAC during meltdowns, waiting for ready bodies before modeling, and removing an AAC device during moments of distress. But we don't take away spoken language when children are upset. And we don't say, use your words once you're calm. AAC should be treated the same. Communication is not something children earn through regulation. Communication supports regulation. When an AAC device is consistently available and modeled, it gives children ways to express discomfort, protest safely, request breaks, ask for help, and feel understood. Words like stop, help, all done, break, and wait are not behavioral tools. They're self-advocacy tools. When children can communicate their needs, even imperfectly, it reduces frustration and increases trust. And trust is regulating. If AAC is only offered at the table, during structured lessons, or when a child is calm and compliant, it's not truly accessible. AAC needs to live in the real moments of the day, during transitions, play, snack, outside, during joyful fun times, and during dysregulation. Access means the AAC system is available all day, not just during instruction. Now, one of the most powerful shifts adults can make is learning to model AAC during dysregulation without expecting a response. This might look like modeling stop from their perspective while honoring a protest, modeling help when a child's struggling, modeling all done as you support a transition. No prompting, no correcting, no pressure, just presence and access. Even if the child doesn't even touch the AAC device, they're still learning. They're learning that the words exist, the words are available, the adult is supportive, and that learning builds over time. When AAC is taken away during hard moments, children learn something, just not what we want them to learn. They may learn that communication isn't available when things are hard, that their feelings aren't safe to express, that adults don't understand their needs, and this can lead to increased shutdown, escalation, or avoidance. Keeping AAC available sends a very different message. You're allowed to communicate, even when you're upset. That message alone can be regulating. It's important to acknowledge that modeling AAC during dysregulation can feel uncomfortable for adults. There's fear around reinforcing behavior, making things worse, using the AAC device incorrectly. But AAC is not a reward and it's not a behavior strategy, it's access. And remember that access should never be conditional. Adults don't need to be perfect, but we do need to be consistent. When AAC is available across regulation states, children begin to trust the system, engage more spontaneously, use communication more flexibly, and over time, that leads to reduced frustration, increased participation, and stronger relationships. These outcomes don't come from pressure or prompting, they come from access paired with safety. So let's do a quick recap here about AAC and dysregulation. Dysregulation limits access to communication for many children, but AAC should be available during hard moments, not withheld. Communication supports regulation. It's not something kids need to earn. And modeling that AAC without expectation during those hard moments of dysregulation builds trust and access. You don't have to change everything at once. Small shifts matter. So try this. Keep the AAC device available during moments of dysregulation, even if it's not used. Model one regulation-related word today. Help, stop, all done, without expecting a response from the child. Notice changes in engagement, not output. Trust builds before communication does, and sometimes it can take a long time for us to be modeling and have this change happen. If you're realizing that AAC has been limited to calm or structured moments, you're not alone, and you don't have to figure it out by yourself. I have AAC visuals and an upcoming AAC boot camp. If you're listening live here in February of 2026, the AAC boot camp was created to help educators and caregivers confidently model AAC across the entire day, including transitions, play, and moments of dysregulation. If you're listening to this episode before February 9th, 2026, you can register for AAC Bootcamp by going to www.autismlittlelearners.com/boot26. AAC doesn't require perfection, it requires access. And when access is paired with regulation and trust, communication can grow. Thank you for listening today, and I hope to see you inside of the AAC Bootcamp. Thank you for spending this time with me. You're doing important work, and the small supports you put into place matter. Keep leading with connection, and I'll talk to you again next week.